have the Ayatollah of fantasy rock and roller with us today, Adam Rank. How you doing, Rank?
They look great in person, and I just can't wait till next year we can pack it full of 25,000.
Hey, Bob, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. I didn't know it was Ball Guys Day. It was being ranked. I mean, how can you lose?
This is the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast.
And welcome back to another edition of the ViperCast, episode 94, powered by Fantasy Points Media Group. With me, as always, we have Major Caldwell, Tera Roberts. Major, take us away.
Take us where?
Wherever you want with that sultry voice and that singer mic, let us rip. Take us away. Sail away with us.
I don't know. I just want to say hi, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. And we're going to talk some football. Let's get into it.
Okay,
I don't know what you want
top
from
that
me.
introduction. I mean, you've got the mic there. You look like a lounge singer or something. Just kind of wave that mic around. You sway with music.
Nice little jazz club or a little R&B. Yes, the late night R&B lounge with Major. Like it.
Boom.
Got that little bit of a sultry kind of soul type voice to him there. I dig it. I get down with it.
Nice.
Yes.
And it's good to see Tara in a better mood that her number 25 ranked Clemson Tigers pulled off a win there this weekend. So that's good to see.
Yeah.
They're back on track.
It was a win, but I don't think everyone counted it as a win, unfortunately. So
I think what a lot of people forget when we talk about our college fandoms and stuff, you go back to when Clemson wasn't really a powerhouse. People are like, oh, Clemson's going. Said Clemson's not very good, or whatever excuse they want to make it. They don't realize how bad Clemson was once upon a time. Same with Alabama. I get the same thing with you're jumping on Alabama's bandwagon. There was a time when Alabama wasn't very good. There was a time Clemson wasn't very good, and I don't think Major's team has ever been any good. So.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Trojans, we had a good run, so let's not do that to USC.
Yeah, no, I'm a way back Clemson fan. Like, people understand. Like, I am from literally 20 minutes down the road from Clemson. Like, grew up. So people understand. I've been through it all. I've been through the stress, the embarrassment, the whole like not wanting to go to. When I moved to Houston, like on Mondays, it'd be stressful to go to work, man, because there's a whole bunch of Texas A&M fans, which Texas A&M is not even good. So I don't understand why they were so hyped, but they love to just, like come in Monday morning and go, Tara. But, I've been through it.
Well, everyone's like, why are we talking Clemson at the top of the show? Who would have predicted that Hunter Renfrow would have been the better Tiger on Monday Night Football? Definitely not me, because I was huge onto Mike Williams. That was a miss for me this week. I knew Hunter Renfrow was good. I love myself some Hunter Renfrow, but the way Mike Williams is playing, you can't bet against him. And boy, did he made a lot of us look silly for putting our belief in him this week. But I think that's going to change as we move forward into week 5. That said, fresh off the presses, a little bit of injury news. Joe Mixon got a little bit of a tweak of the ankle. He's going to be week to week. I think he's going to be good to go next week. But the big one here, I know I don't want to dive into too much because I know Major wants to talk about it a little bit later, is David Montgomery. While he did avoid what it looks like an ACL tear at this point, he's still going to miss significant time, 4 to 6 weeks. Major, we're not going to go into this yet, but you're going to kind of talk about a little bit later what that means, where to go, and can we trust who's coming into that role going forward. Teddy Bridgewater.
Go ahead.
Teddy Bridgewater is in concussion protocol. That's a big one. And that is a huge one for fantasy because we watched Drew Lock come in and he did not get a whole lot of offense going. Granted, it was Baltimore, but that offense did not look anything like the team that Teddy Bridgewater had behind him for weeks. Cortland Sutton wasn't himself. Tim Patrick wasn't the Tim Patrick we've loved off the waiver wire. Even Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, they were standard, I guess is the best way to put it. I know they're splitting carries, but
Devonta had
looking around,
crazy runs though. He had some like amazing running over people and dragging people. That guy is like, I'm trying to get him in every league.
I think we're talking about him when we get our. We're going to do a little bit of a award show here in the next couple of weeks here, just to kind of see where we're at. Maybe he's a guy who pops up on there as someone we're taking an eye on. Tara, news from around the league. Anything that caught your attention?
The other big thing, unfortunately, is Joe Mixon. And I did a waiver wire video this week, my top 10. And I haven't looked at the comments yet because I know I'm sure that I got called out for the fact that Samaje Perine was not on my list. But there's a lot of really good talent out there on the waivers right now. And unfortunately, I don't believe in his talent. and I do think that while Joe Mixon may miss a week, maybe two max, I don't think it's the same situation as last year. So I have a little bit more faith in not having to aggressively go out and get Samaje Perine. So yeah, very interesting situation there, but I'm hopeful Joe Mixon's going to recover very quickly.
And Major, around the league, was there any news that kind of caught your attention?
Yeah, I mean, just the Patriots Tampa Bay game, just like all the hoopla around that. I thought Tom Brady was going to go in there and light it on fire, but kind of got outplayed by Mack Jones, maybe just a little bit. What you guys think about that?
It was very interesting. Obviously it's so funny how everyone now has the exact same game plan for attacking Tampa Bay. We're just going to abandon the run. It's so easy to predict. I mean, from a fantasy perspective, it's fantastic to us because we can just line up any opposing receivers that are going to play against Tampa Bay. But yeah, I was pretty impressed with Mack Jones. He very poised, was able to, it was an improvement on what he had done in previous weeks as well. I thought it was a very big moment for him, with the emotion of Tom Brady coming back, that and Bill Belichick, all of that, for him to step up and perform really well, especially compared to Brady. I think he's got the right mentality to be a top quarterback in the NFL, whether or not he's got the right situation in terms of being with the Patriots to be one of the top quarterbacks, since, statistically they don't want to do that, but it'll be interesting to watch.
I think with Mack Jones, he's fitting right into what that Patriots offense is. They're not asking him to push the ball down the field very often. That's not what McDaniel's offense is about. It's the dink and dunk, the high percentage passes. That's what this offense is doing. And Mack Jones ran it pretty darn good. I think the biggest story of this is how good that Patriots defense played. They've heard guys who weren't even there, like Matt Judon. Oh, talking about Tom Brady. Matt Judon don't care if Tom Brady's coming back home. He don't care. So stop asking the man these questions. All the Patriots did is they got that defense together, and they put one heck of a defensive plan together. I was kind of hoping they'd pull that off when it was all said and done, just because they really shut that Tampa Bay offense down, the one that we've seen steamroll teams up until last week with the Rams. Now we've got us kind of second-guessing ourselves. Is Tampa Bay a victim of two weaker kind of games off the start of the season, two stronger defenses on the back end? What's this Tampa Bay team really going to look like moving forward? We all had them as a Super Bowl contender, and rightfully so because of what they did last year. But now I know there's a little bit of doubt about this offense. Now Gronk wasn't there. That's going to factor into the equation somehow, some way. But the bottom line is this Patriots team played pretty good. So let's give them a little bit of credit in this whole thing because they were definitely good enough to win. And speaking of good enough, we've got one of the greatest analysts in all of fantasy football joining us, fresh off of Taco Tuesday. Please welcome to the stream, the one, the only, Calvin.
Me?
There, now
I love this.
What's up, y'all?
It's like the big, like Vince McMahon walks out to the money or whatever. That's like Calvin coming out. We've got the big hype going on. Boom, out comes the curtain. Yeah. Huge pop from the fans.
We should make this a regular thing.
To be hanging out with you guys here. Great show so far. Sorry, just coming off of Taco Tuesday.
I got so excited. Like I got frozen. I'm so excited that you're here. Like my screen froze.
Yeah,
great.
Just can't handle himself.
Cal. Thanks, Cal. Thanks.
Somebody please unplug and replug back in, Major.
It's because his mic is loose here. There's some connection missing. But I think we were looking for answers in Foxborough. Was it Brady or was it Belichick that made this team? And when it was all said and done, I still don't think we got the answers we were looking for. Because I think Belichick played a very good team, and Brady didn't quite give us that 4 touchdowns. I think it was the first time in 13 games that Brady was held less than 2 touchdowns, going back to the playoffs even. Like I have more questions than I have answers after that game about whose legacy built whose legacy. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to talk about legacies right now, as well as bold predictions, recapping from last week, and the legacy of one Mrs. Tera Roberts, nailing the prediction once again, bringing her record to 2-2 with the prediction that Van Jefferson would be a top 20 wide receiver last week. Not only was he top 20, he was top 10 coming in at number 8. Tara, the floor is yours.
I just want to thank my analysis, my deep analysis that led me to that fantastic bold prediction that was just bold enough to be included. I could have gone top 10. I could have gone a little bolder, but you know what? I did what I had to do to get the victory. So I'm very proud of myself.
Hey, no one asks you how, they ask you how many, right? That's how it rolls. That's 2-2 on the season. For anyone who's wondering, that's 2 more wins than one of us on this panel has right now as far as bold predictions are concerned. Right now, we're going to take a look here. Okay, first off, Major, you're getting some I have a pair of shoes that match that backdrop coming from Bob Gilchrist. A little shout out to your backdrop, or maybe it's a shout out to Bob's shoes.
That's the Black Mamba backdrop, so let's not do it.
We're going to head over to Major. Kyler Murray will be the leading rusher in this game. Well, unfortunately, he was 4th in the game. Chase Edmonds, 12 carries, 120 yards. Darrell Anderson, 14 carries, 89 yards. James Conner chipped in with 18 carries and 50 yards and 2 tutties. That's tutties as in touchdowns. And Kyler Murray with a pedestrian 6 carries for 39 yards. Explain yourself.
This last week it was really hard for me to get like a bold prediction. I couldn't figure it out, so I couldn't just pull one out the air, and it did not work. So we have to prepare better, and moving forward, I will make sure it doesn't happen again. Thank you.
Well, with that all said, Major, you know as well as I do, if you go to fantasypoints.com, you get that subscription to Fantasy Points, use promo code 21Vipers10, and you can be better prepared for these bold predictions by bringing down all the analysis that Tara brought last week when figured out Van Jefferson's what he would do.
Thank you, Fantasy Points.
Nice. There's a screenshot. And then Calvin. You know what? I'm really glad that Calvin is now 1-3 as well, missing on his prediction. He had Nyheim Hines as a top 12 running back last week. We're not going to go exactly where he fell into the whole spiel, but
you have to keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. You're
going to have to go very far down on the stats line there. Yeah. I think he had 1.1 fantasy points last week. And that's we'll say it was top 75. How's that sound? Top 75.
Yeah, I was a little off. You know what? I really messed up. So I started off the season 0-2, trying to figure this thing out. And I really hit on something where I just bet against you. Like that was, and I got my first win. And I just think I went away from my bread and butter. And so I got what I deserve. I'm going to stick to betting against you from now on.
That's not a bad strategy. That's paid off for you many times, from Big Mac smoothies to dog food to makeup. Last year I was 1-3 against Calvin in our betting. The only time I won was like the egg sucking challenge where he had a pound back. I think it was three raw eggs, Rocky style.
Yeah. I did not get salmonella that day.
Oh, no.
I'm so glad we're.
You had the hot chip challenge that you haven't paid up yet.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I'm so glad that we're not doing these challenges anymore. Now that me and Tara are here, we're like a more upscale. Yeah, we're way more professional now, so we're doing these challenges anymore, and I appreciate that, guys.
Not one since you guys joined the show has Matt taken his shirt off.
And I appreciate that. I
absolutely that's a win right there.
We all appreciate that.
You get a
But Calvin, you know as well as I do, winter's coming. Now, I tried to cheat the system. I tried to cheat the system last week. I tried to make 2 predictions for one, and I missed on both of them. Luckily, Major said I only get like 1 point for both of them. So luckily, I only lose 1 point for both of them as well. I had both Ruggs and Edwards would each have 100 yards and a touchdown. Clearly, Ruggs looked okay. 4 catches, 60 yards, no touchdown. And Edwards was the Raiders version of Mike Williams last week with 1 catch and 4 yards. Not good. My other prediction, I think I had Jacoby Myers would have a Cooper Kupp-esque outing against Tampa Bay. I'm not going to call that a complete miss because he did have a good game. He had 8 or 9 catches, 84 yards, give or take. But Cooper Kupp had 9 catches for 94 and 2 touchdowns. So that was a miss. So I can't claim that one as well. But I did have some hits. We'll get to that in a second. But first, yeah, I know. It's really, yeah. Let's move on because I can't talk about that anymore because I'm 0-4 on the season now as far as bold predictions go. Eventually, I got to hit. Eventually, it's going to hit. Tara, studs and duds for week 4.
My stud's Cordero Patterson. I think that one's kind of self-explanatory, man. I think we got to give him his props there. What he's doing efficiency-wise, is pretty incredible. He's definitely helped me out on my fantasy teams where I grabbed him. So pumped about that. But it's kind of amazing. Seriously, he really legitimately, if this continues, and quite frankly, there's no reason that it can't continue. Because I think this is just the direction that the Falcons want to go, and it makes sense for them. They use Mike Davis in a specific way, but they also give him a ton of passes as well. Cordero Patterson is literally on fire from that perspective. So I kind of wonder if he's, he's a shot to be the first RB1 who's technically not a running back, which is fascinating. And I kind of want to see it just for maximal chaos. So yeah, he's definitely my stud of the week. And my dud of the week is unfortunately the combination of Odell, Beckham Jr., and Baker Mayfield. I was highly disappointed in that one. I thought it would be a good week for Odell. And to see him not be able to take advantage of Jarvis Landry being not out there, just very odd situation. That was a game where they really should have been better from a pass perspective. And overall, looking at Baker's stats on the season, he's had one game where the volume was there, but beyond that, he doesn't have the volume, which I think we were kind of expecting, but to not have the volume and then to also not have the touchdown passes, he's just really disappointing me this year. Very disappointed.
Mm-hmm. Is it wrong to believe that Cordell Patterson is the original Christian McCaffrey? We're talking about a guy who is literally the wide receiver 5 on the season and the running back 3 on the season, depending on where you want to put him. So that's just kind of put in perspective what Cordero Patterson's season through 4 weeks has looked like. I don't think he could sustain it, but I'm not going to bet against him right now because, as you can see, I'm 0-4. Major studs and duds. What do you got? Do I see some IDP? Do I see some IDP love on here?
Yeah, man. I've been trying to sneak it on this show for a while, but my IDP is Jabril Peppers. Like, he didn't really do anything during the game. He has a hamstring issue going on. He was, but did you guys see that? What do you call it? The flip of the coin for the overtime. Did you guys catch that?
Yes.
Like he went. That was the most intense. Like, he wielded that team with what? Like, I'm just gonna read. Hopefully, I can do it some kind of justice. But it was like, heads, baby, heads. I'm confident. It was heads, and he was like, boom. We want that. So he's like, the sideline went crazy, the crowd went crazy, like everyone, like he made, like they grabbed his energy and just like wielded that team to that win, and he didn't do anything. He just gave them that positive energy that they needed. My dud.
I was gonna say, Major, he should have given some of that energy to your dud of the week.
Yeah, man. My dud of the week is Colin Johnson. I had big hopes for him. Like, he's one of my guys. Playing fantasy football, you look at the draft, you fall in love with these players who are like the sleepers, and he pops every now and then for me, and I'm like, oh, I'm a genius, I got it right. But then, like, the next week, nothing happens. So I don't know what's going on there with Colin. Even though, what's his name? Daniel Jones played pretty well. But I thought he was going to have a good game due to there was a couple starters out with the hamstrings. But, he had limited time last week. He played well in that time. But, big fat 0. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's a coaching thing or if it's him, but he seems to perform when he's on the field, but they don't keep him on the field. I don't get it.
And speaking of zeros, Calvin put up 0 receiving yards this week, allowing Kadarius Toney to now pass him amongst receiving yards. Calvin, what were some of your studs and duds for week 4?
How about Sam Darnold? How about this guy going out and just like he's leading the league in rushing touchdowns right now? What? Yeah. Sam Darnold? That's incredible. He's having a great year, and this connection with him and Joe Brady and DJ Moore has just been phenomenal for him. Like this makes this Carolina offense just great to watch. And Sam Darnold, seeing him bounce back from everything we saw, the seeing ghost, all the jokes, all that stuff, and going out and being what he is right now, he is just, turning a stud chapter right now. 24-year-old QB, you've got to have him in Dynasty pretty high in your rankings right now. He's the QB5 on the season. Incredible, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Unlike my dud, Myles Gaskin, who is just doing nothing in Miami, right? Like he had 0.3 PPR fantasy points last week against the Indianapolis Colts. And you know what? Like he's got 12, 8, 10.3. His snaps last week were only 12. I couldn't find that he was injured or that there was some reason why he wasn't in there. Just completely laid an egg for our fantasy teams in week 4.
Myles Gaskin, I think, is probably the bigger disappointment because a lot of people invested a 5th-round draft capital when it came to their redraft type leagues there. I think Gaskins was the clear running back 1 in Miami, which obviously has not come to fruition yet. I got to think that talent eventually wins out there. That whole Dolphins team has been a mess through 4 weeks. Kind of going back to the Tua rib injury back in week 1. Now Brissett kind of under center. That changes the dynamic of how that offense goes. Can they get back on track at some point this season? Who knows? Will Fuller has broke a finger again now or something. So my stud this week was Tyreek Hill. Last week the Chargers, kept him in check. He had 5 catches for 56 yards. He had 7 targets. 56 yards, not good. But did he ever come after the Eagles? 11 catches, 186 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 targets. Welcome back to the wide receiver 1, Tyreek Hill. And whenever someone gets up there, whenever someone succeeds, someone's going to come back down. And that was Mike Williams this week. So Mike Williams, who had been the wide receiver 2, is going to drop in the standings there somewhat there. I think he's going to rebound, but he was my dud for week 4. Now, hits and misses. Here's our time to gloat a little bit, but a little bit of transparency for everyone here who is watching the show, either live or when we catch you on YouTube there a little bit later. Tara, hits and misses.
I have lots of documented hits. Obviously, the Van Jefferson one.
But,
no.
Thanks, Fantasy Coin.
Thanks, Fantasy Coin. Yes. But I did a bounce back video of 5 players that I thought were going to have a bounce back week.
Oh, I thought this was just a bounce back of your good predictions. You're doing a whole video on all your hits.
Yes. But I had Joe Mixon, Deebo Samuels, Terry McLaurin, Corey Davis, with a little bit of side of Zach Wilson. And the one that I missed on is Allen Robinson. I think I mentioned him in our episode last week too. I really thought that last week was the week where it was going to have to happen, or this past week was the week that it's going to have to happen against Detroit. If you're going to be able to succeed as a wide receiver, that's pretty much the team where you have the best opportunity to do it. And it's, I guess, I think I plan to talk about this later, but it's a little bit frightening in the situation that's going on there. And unfortunately, that was a big miss. There was no rebound there whatsoever.
Now, only if someone there had a certain receiver they liked in Chicago. Major, your hits and misses for week 4.
Yeah, just like Tara, I had like several hits myself. Like my sneaky play of the week was Van Jefferson.
Your stinky pits.
Yeah, a little bit. And let's see, my player that you need to pick up, Joe Burrow, balled out. But I'm gonna go with the person or the player that has you panicking, and that was Coach Urban Meyer. I hit on that. I didn't know all this stuff was going to come out about him.
I was going to say there's so many different hits we could go with on this one.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like, I don't get it. Like, he's a huge distraction. Like I said it last week, he's going to be a one and done. We have to hold him to the same account that we hold the players to. And if it was a player, he would have, like Dwayne Haskins, he got shipped out of Washington because he went to a strip club. Yes, this wasn't a strip club, but you still got in trouble getting lap dances, and your wife is at home like babysitting your grandchildren and stuff. So it's like, come on, man, you gotta figure that out. My miss is my guy, another one of my players that I just fell in love with, and he bought out preseason. I missed on Ramadre. It's not his fault though. It's Belichick. Like, what's going on there? Like, your running game sucks. Like, Damian Harris had 4 carries for -4 yards. He's literally running backwards.
Tara, would you like a rebuttal on this one?
Like, no, Bolden has 0 rushing yards. Like, go ahead, Tara.
We cannot hold any rushing stats that are against Tampa Bay. We cannot hold people to those rushing stats. Teams are literally deciding the best way to attack them is to abandon the run completely. Yes, yeah. You're really good.
-4.
They're really insanely good.
For 1 yard.
Look at Zeke week 1. Like, you cannot run on them. Like, if you were literally Zeke, you cannot run on them. I'm not holding it against him.
Before that, he's not having a good season. If we're going to, I'll give you that one. But let's look at all the rest of the games. He's not really doing too much. And you have this running back.
Who?
Yeah. Say it again. I missed it.
Who's not doing too much?
Me.
Harris. Damian Harris.
Let me pull up my stats here.
Yeah, pull up the
stats coming out.
Go to
fact checking again. Calvin, I know you missed it last week there, but this is now the second week in a row. Tara's doing some fact checking live on the
show.
Yeah. I'm not sure about
really like it, but she's fact checking this.
What show do you think you're on right now, Tara?
You're right. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, guys.
She thinks she's so cool.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
You're on the Fantasy Vipers right now.
The Fantasy Vipers. I got it right on Front Yard Fantasy today, so you know what? We're doing good. We were correctly named.
Nice.
I like it.
Well, Tara's fact checking right now. Calvin, what were your hits and misses?
So I cannot tell you how much I want to just say I told you so to every single person out there to sell Tyson Williams. Like, God bless him. I'm so glad he got on the stage for his career and for but 25-year-old undrafted free agent, like, who spent a year on the practice squad. He only got active in any way, shape, or form because 3 running back, everybody else in the running back room with him got season-ending injuries. Like, the only thing that happened to cause him to have even be active on game day. We fall in love with highlights sometimes and assume like, oh, that means talent. No, highlights do not equal talent. And we want him to be a thing, but guess what? The coaching staff who sees him every day does not think he's good enough to be active on game day. And they'd rather have Le'Veon Bell, the ghost of Devonta Freeman, and Latavius Murray man this backfield than Tyson Williams. I said to sell him for a second before the season. Now you wish you had a second on your squad that you could be utilizing right now because Tyson Williams is done.
Was there any way that they could have made like Devonta Freeman 1 carry 4 yards, Le'Veon Bell 4 carries 11 yards, and even Latavius Murray 18 and 59 with a 3.3 average? Couldn't they just made all 3 of them inactive and just made everyone happy?
Make everybody inactive? Yeah.
If they would have done that, Lamar Jackson could have got those 4 yards rushing a lot earlier than the last play of the game.
How much fun would it be to be watching J.K. Dobbins in this offense right now?
Oh man,
We were robbed.
Or Gus Edwards.
Yeah,
Gus Edwards too. But yeah. So then my miss, just not giving any credit. I'm gonna just give some love to Dawson Knox. I literally overlooked him, and I think I had him in like the 40s of my tight end rankings for Dynasty, and he is just scoring every week. Seems like he is currently, I believe, 4 points behind T.J. Hawkinson on the season. We all love T.J. Hawkinson, but he's right there with him.
Well, he's having himself a very Robert Tonyan type season right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's put it that way. He's getting those touchdowns. He's getting those looks. And it's kind of coming at the expense of another wide receiver there in Buffalo, which I'll talk about a little bit later when I tie back in somewhere along the line. My miss for the week, Tim Patrick. Really thought Tim Patrick was going to have a good week here against Baltimore. I thought a lot of the attention would go to Cortland Sutton. I thought that connection they had last week would pay off a little bit. So he was a miss for me. And, of course, you know, so Tim Patrick, 3 catches, 39 yards. Just kind of put in that perspective. But for me, Corey Davis, revenge game. You know I was getting up on that. And sorry, Tennessee, you're now been relegated to college football after losing to the Jets. Them's the rules. I don't make them up. 4 catches, 111 yards, 1 touchdown. I'll victory lap every time Corey Davis has a big week. You know how that rolls. And then maybe even more impressive is the wide receiver 1 for the Chicago Bears, Darnell Mooney. 5 catches, 125, 7 targets. He's out targeting and out receiving Allen Robinson right now. We all felt that as soon as I think Justin Fields is going to be able to support 2 wide receivers comfortably moving forward. But now we're getting Andy Dalton possibly back this week. Who knows what's going on there? I think Nagy is just sick and tired of the Chicago winters and is trying to find a way out of there nicely with a nice pension, nice payoff along the way. But that might be my bold prediction too. Who knows? I might have to go with that a little bit later. But we're going to get into these previews right now. Tara's going to bring us to the Rams and the Seahawks.
I will do that. And my fact checking, I promise, guys, I will not do this again. My bad. I forgot we're not that kind of show. But week 1, Damian Harris did have 23 attempts for 100 yards. I mean, that's what he's asked to do, you know, with James White being the one that was receiving. Unfortunately, James White is down. Very crazy situation. But then week 2, less yardage, 62 yards on 16 carries, but he had a touchdown. Mm-hmm. And then week 3, he played New Orleans, as Calvin knows. New Orleans just has a fantastic defense, so I excuse that. And then we got Tampa Bay.
But if you got Ramondre, who was getting like 150,000 yards a game, why not just let him go?
One preseason game.
Yeah, one preseason game. Let's see what happens. You get 1,000 yards in one game. Let's see if you can just like get half of that. You know what I mean? So let's try something if your team is rushing backwards. Like, you know.
So that should count for like 5 games of 200 yards, right?
There you go. Easy math. Fact check that.
Bill likes Brandon Bolden. But jumping into the preview, so I chose I chose the Rams and the Seahawks. It's funny. I can't remember who mentioned it. We're getting really fantastic Thursday night games, oddly enough, even though they haven't seemed like they would be really good. So hopefully this one continues in that trend and is fantastic, because it should be offense on top of offense on top of offense. So yeah, in terms of who I'm starting, I mean, it's a full go on both sides for me, with the exception of kind of the running back situation in Seattle. I think you should be, very comfortable, obviously, with Cooper Kupp having a bounce back week after not being Cooper Kupp-ish. I think, Robert Woods is someone who could benefit in this matchup as well. Obviously, we're starting Matt Stafford. Then you jump to the and Darrell Henderson as well, who yay for him. I'm really happy for Darrell Henderson to be able to, all that negative talk about him and the Rams not believing in him and Cam Akers and, being so much better than him. Why'd they draft him? Blah, blah, blah. For Darrell Henderson to come in and be able to step in and showcase the talent that they did actually draft him for is pretty awesome. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of him on my Dynasty team too. Maybe I'm a little biased. Then moving on to the Seattle side, obviously Russ, he's cooking all right. So I'm rolling with it this season. Then we've got DK, obviously. Tyler Lockett has had a couple of Tyler Lockett weeks. So by theory, I mean, by theory, maybe this will be a bounce back game.
What? I need you to do that again. All right. Sorry.
Record that one and add it. But yeah, and Chris Carson is unfortunately maybe the one person that I might be fading, and it's not based off the fact that he split carries with Alex Collins, just because we did get word that if he's healthy, this is not it's not trending towards a committee situation or a timeshare situation. But the problem is that it looks like he might not be healthy, and there might have been an injury that no one was telling us about, and he was out today with a neck injury from practice, and so I don't know. It seems like there's something going on there that maybe we need to monitor, and maybe we just need to go ahead and play it safe and fade. Because, the Rams are a pretty good defense as well. So there's that. And then the other person I'm fading, obviously, I just talked about. Sony Michel, I'm fading. This just is not his time. He was brought in to be a backup. This is Darrell Henderson's offense, and we just have to get comfortable with it. So I am not someone who is advocating for a bounce back situation for Sony Michel. Sneaky play this week. Watch out for Alex Collins, obviously. If Chris Carson is even limited, he looked fantastic. Good for him because it really has been Chris Carson's backfield for a while. So that'll be interesting. But I think this will be a good bounce back game for the Rams. We could see all three, including maybe Van Jefferson as well. Higbee as well can maybe go off. I would not be surprised. Seattle is kind of awful against the pass. I think they're ranked 28th in the pass in terms of pass yards allowed. So yeah, it should be an offensive firepower game, and then Seattle should be trying to keep up.
Yeah, I think the Rams were a little embarrassed against the Cardinals, so this could be one of those games where you just got taken to the woodshed. Now you got to take it out on someone else type thing here. So I'm excited to see this bounce back game, and they will. They're professionals. They got a good team there, so I wouldn't expect them to roll over. That Arizona Cardinals defense is a lot better than advertised. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Major, where are we going for the second game of the week?
We are going to the Eagles at Panthers. I just had to do this game because Sam Darnold's a USC guy. I love USC. And DJ Moore is balling. Like, that dude is like, top 5 receiver right now? Look at Tara trying to fact check that. But and Jalen Hurts. So, the players you want to get on this team, I think is going to be Jalen Hurts, Javonte Smith versus Sam Darnold and DJ Moore. They are going to have a ton of fantasy points. I think it's going to be a battle of the tandem quarterback, wide receiver pairings, I guess. The person I'm fading is Mel Sanders. Over the last 2 games, he's gone 9 for 40 yards. Again, that's 9 carries for 40 yards in the last 2 games. That's disgusting. And he's a really good runner. I don't know what's going on there. Like, some of the stuff is going on this season is kind of like there's no question, no like answers to why some of these things are happening. Like Brandon Ayuk, like Miles Sanders, like Denzel Mims, like all these things are just like mysteries. So it's a lot of mysteries. We might have to have a show about like solving all these
unsolved fantasy mysteries. Copyrighted.
Copyrighted.
Sorry, hang on. Unsolved fantasy football mysteries.
There you
we'll
go.
Make sure although we may get more hits on YouTube going the other
way. Right. That's just
great show.
So the sneaky play, I'm going with Kenneth Gainwell. I don't know if it's really that sneaky, but the guy is starting to show you why he had Antonio Gibson kind of like sitting on the bench a little bit. He started over him as a sophomore, I think he was. But he's shown his receiving ability, 13 catches for 114 yards. But he's a better running back than what people give him credit for. He can run between the tackles, and I think you're going to see a lot more of that. He's averaging 4.4 yards a carry. He has 2 touchdowns in limited time. And I think Mount Sanders is at 4.6. So, I mean, throw this guy in there and let him see what he can do. Maybe a second coming of what's the guy that used to have that scored all those points at small running back? What's his name? Darren Sproles. Thank you so much. You are the man.
I thought you were going with LaShawn McCoy there.
I thought so too.
Yeah, I guess. But what to look for in this game, I think is going to be a quarterback, wide receiver, fantasy points day. They're going to be throwing the ball over the place. It's going to be, Jalen Hurts is giving you like 250 yards a game in the air, another 50 on the ground. Sam Darnold's giving you points on the ground. He's leading all quarterbacks in rushing TDs. And DJ Moore looks like I don't know, Randy Moss or something. I don't know, but yeah, that's the game wrapped up.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
So
man.
I want to pose this question. So I'm in that predicament in one of those leagues right now where I've got two good quarterbacks in a 1 QB league, and I've picked the wrong quarterback to start each week. So I pose this question to you right now. Since we're covering the Rams, Seahawks, and we're covering the Eagles, Panthers game, who do you choose to start? Jalen Hurts or Matt Stafford?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh yeah, suddenly I don't seem so silly not being able to get the right one.
I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts just for the ground game stuff, and they're gonna throw the ball a lot. I think so. He may throw for 300 and give you another 50 or something on the ground.
Tara?
I'll kind of lean towards Stafford again. I think it's going to be a huge bounce back game for them. I think, and Seattle is someone that you should really be a top. Yeah, you should really be a very top
and then
stats with.
So Calvin, break this tie.
Tiebreaker.
Division games are weird. I go Jalen Hurts. Just because Seattle, just because Seattle has been bad against the pass, division games, just you throw all that out almost. Like that doesn't ever seem to matter in division games.
Plus, I think I can handle Stafford going off on my bench on Thursday night. Then I can't have him in my lineup and struggle on a Thursday night.
True.
If you think about it that way. Point. So we're going to stick with Tara's game here of the week here. Joey, he's coming in here. Need 2 wide receivers this weekend. Robert Woods, Tyler Boyd, Cortland Sutton, Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault. I'm personally going Woods and Boyd, but that's just mine. I want to see what Higgins has to do first. If Higgins is 100%, that may change that for me a little bit there. And going with I can't trust Cortland Sutton right now, so I might swing a little bit towards Laviska Shenault here over Marvin Jones. Calvin?
I can't trust Robert Woods. Like, he fell into the end zone in the last drive. Like, most of his catches were done in the very end of that game. Like, I just, for whatever reason, like, I like Robert Woods. He's been really good. Bobby Trees, 4L to the moon, whatever. But he just hasn't been very reliable this year. Tyler Boyd and Laviska Shenault would be the ones that I'd be looking at right now. Shenault, after the injury to DJ Chark, which was bad to see, he did become a featured part of that offense. And Tyler Boyd has been active enough, especially if it's possible that T. Higgins misses this game, that I would be confident there.
Tara?
I appreciate you guys going first because it did give me some time to think about it. Definitely Tyler Boyd for sure. And then me being torn between going for Robert Woods and then Laviska Shenault. But they're playing Tennessee. And looking at what Corey Davis was able to do, Jamison Crowder was able to do, coming off of literally being out and injured and like suddenly stepping up and being fantastic, or fantastic relative to him coming in. I kind of lean towards me, and I'm okay with Marvin Jones and Laviska Shenault. So if I have to cut between those two, maybe I'm shifting towards Laviska Shenault.
Smart
and Major.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna go with Boyd and Marvin Jones Jr. He's the favorite receiver of T-Law, and Tyler Boyd looked pretty good last week. And if, like you said, if T. Higgins doesn't play, I'll take him all day.
And there you have it. Major's not really a USC fan. Calvin, what's your game of the week?
Robert Woods is one of my favorite players of all time. So yeah.
This is where I start to go down narrative street a little bit, and all of a sudden we care about a New York Giants, Dallas Cowboys matchup that happens in the afternoon, and it just feels like the time of year where that afternoon slate of games, you don't get as many games as you want, but it just feels like red zone is going to be locked into that Giants Cowboys game all day. When you look at the Vegas line isn't as high as you would like it to be, sure, but in terms of fantasy points given up, this matchup could have a lot of fantasy numbers. Even the one where it doesn't appear to be as good. You look at the Dallas Cowboys and you think about how, the Dallas Cowboys actually right now only give up like the 6th least amount of yards to the position, but they've had the least amount of attempts, because you look at the teams that they've played, the CMC list Panthers, the Tampa Bay, who just went completely away from the run, and others, Eagles that Major just mentioned. So they haven't played teams that want to run the ball against them. That's not going to be a problem for New York. They're going to run the ball. I think, that they have the 26th highest yards per attempt against them on their run. So I think Saquon Barkley is going to have a great day. I think both these quarterbacks, Daniel Jones, Dak Prescott, I can just see this being a 45-42 kind of a shootout game, and lots of fantasy points, lots of yards, CeeDee Lamb with a, breakout 212-yard performance type day, something like that, where you're just going to want anybody and everybody in here, even Kadarius Toney, who I think could be a sneaky play, and maybe even deeper than that, Evan Ingram, who the Giants have not been very good at covering tight ends. Evan Ingram has gotten 6 targets in back-to-back weeks, and I would not be surprised to see him have a decent day today. Not today, Sunday. You know what I mean?
Don't let Evan burn you again. Like, I'm off that. Like, I'm never going back there again. I don't care if he scores 1 billion points. I'm never going back.
Volume is volume.
True.
Well, apparently Calvin's more into the "don't go breaking my heart, I couldn't if you tried" kind of a moment here with Evan Ingram. The thing is, I'm looking for this Dallas Cowboys game here right now. Is Dallas, I believe, has 2 or 4 straight games with 2 interceptions, which I think is something that we can't overlook right now. That defense is playing some pretty good ball lately that we obviously didn't give them credit for earlier. Now I'm going to move along to my game of the week. I got onto the spreadsheet first. I didn't wait for you guys this week. As you guys know, I do a Sunday night football primetime football at the movies type thing here. Week 1, we did a little bit of Mario Bros. And we talked about the Green Bay Packers and the San Francisco 49ers game, a game that we were excited for that was going to ultimately disappoint us as fantasy enthusiasts. Last week, we just had this one go down. I had Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Tampa Bay, Tom Brady going back home to face his father, Bill Belichick, in a battle of Pac-Man and whatnot. And then this week, I'm going to go with the Civil War theme from Captain America, the 3rd installment of the Captain America trilogy. The first movie was was the worst of the 3 so far. The first Avengers, still good. We were still excited about it. But that first game between the Bills and the Chiefs disappointed us as fans. Very low scoring game. We didn't get the excitement that we wanted out of it. Josh Allen had like 125 yards, I think. And Patrick Mahomes had like 222 yards passing. Very disappointing for the fantasy side. Good game, not good for fantasy. The second game happened in the playoffs. We had our fireworks. Guys were going off. We were excited about that. We got the second installment of the Captain America movies there, right for us all. We got a little bit of Winter Soldier kind of action there. We had the firepower. We had everything going. So this third one, we're getting Civil War. We don't know what it is. We're not sure what to expect of it. This could be the best of the 3. It's definitely, in my opinion, the best of the 3 Captain America movies. Civil War is. But, the synopsis basically comes down to this is all after everything happens. Both Patrick Mahomes has to decide now between Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill who's going to have the big game. On the other side, Josh Allen's going to have to decide between his new toy there, Knox, or maybe getting Stephon Diggs' his first touchdown of the year. I know we always bust Jacoby Myers for not being able to score a touchdown. Well, Stephon Diggs isn't quite finding the end zone either. I think this is going to be one of those.
In there.
I got Jacoby's almost a staple of the show. He's going to get in here a little bit later too. But this is where I'm taking this. So that's what my Sunday night preview is going to be. I'm going to drop that here. So that's something to keep an eye on. But yeah, you're starting Jared Allen. You're starting Patrick Mahomes. You're starting Kelce. You're starting Hill. You're starting Knox. And you're starting Diggs. And everyone's getting involved in this game. Zach Moss, I think you can find he's finding the end zone. And that's what it's about right now, is finding a way to the end zone. And that's what's going on. Just to look at those numbers from last year, Josh Allen in game 1, 14 to 27 for 122. Yeah, so I was right on that. So very disappointing there. We had a much better playoff game. Could this be even better than the first two? And that's what I'm looking for here. Tyreek Hill is a guy I'm fading this week. Why am I fading Tyreek Hill? That's a good question, but here we go. It's Buffalo's defense right now. It's really Buffalo's defense. In week 1, Juju Smith-Schuster had the most receiving yards of any Steelers wide receiver, 52. Jalen Waddle led all Miami receivers with 48. Week 3, big studs, Terry McLaurin led all Washington receivers with 62. Week 4, Brandon Cooks, who's been balling out, 47 yards. For me, Tyreek Hill, and we seen him 2 weeks ago. He just put up 56 yards receiving 2 weeks ago before he blew up last week. But this is more about Buffalo's defense than it is Tyreek Hill here. So, and we did know he did have a weaker game as well against the Bills last season too. So I don't think it's crazy. You're still putting him in, but I just want to kind of put it with a little bit of a temper expectations. Maybe a wide receiver 3 is kind of that floor for him. I think that's where you can expect. You can obviously go for wide receiver 1. Tyreek Hill's a guy who can catch a bubble screen and take it 99 yards. But temper those expectations going in there. Sneaky play. If I can't count Dawson Knox there as a sneaky play anymore, because he would be my sneaky play because he is very Robert Tonyan thus far this season. Keep an eye on Darrell Williams getting a touchdown in this game. It seems to be when they're getting close. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, great game last week. No doubt about it. But they still went with Darrell Williams down low again and got him that rushing touchdown. I think they're going to keep doing that all season long. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to have good games. But I think it's going to be Darrell Williams who's going to be vulturing those touches inside the 3, inside the 5. So something to keep an eye on there. And like I said, what I expect this to be the 3rd installment of the Captain America trilogy. I think we're going to see even a bigger and better game than we've seen in the playoffs. I think it's going to be open, and I'm excited for this game because we're getting this in primetime, another one of those fantastic primetime games. The NFL is doing a good job on that. So you're starting a lot of guys in this. Whoever you have, you're still starting. But like I said, Tyreek Hill's the one guy I'm kind of fading. Tara, what's up? There's no Clemson Tigers.
Why was your sneaky play not Josh Gordon?
You know what? He's my up and smoke play of the week.
Wait, I didn't say on the show sheet. We're just making up stuff on the spot now, or what?
Have you not watched the first 4 weeks? I make stuff up all the time on the show. But yeah, true. Josh Gordon, first game back. He is on the 53-man roster. Look out for him to have a huge week. Maybe it might be a bold prediction. I don't know. I won't be. Now we're going to go to the rapid fire portion of the show here. Tara, we're going to start with you. Who is that player still in the waivers you need to grab tonight?
It's Damian Williams. It has to be. Unfortunately, with David Montgomery out for 4 to 5 weeks, at least, Damian Williams has a really huge opportunity. I mean, Chicago runs the ball. David Montgomery had 100 yards and 2 touchdowns before he left the game last week. And I think that Damian Williams can step right into that with the pass catching ability as well. So he could be a fantastic win from a fantasy perspective. I am grabbing him for sure.
Okay. I know we're in rapid fire, but we got a question coming in here right now. I'm assuming it's Derrick Henry, Jamar Chase for Alvin Kamara, DK Metcalf, Calvin.
And the rest of that says who wins the trade according to Google Translate, not because
I like it, man. Yeah.
I want the Henry Chase side, and not because of Henry, but because of Chase. I don't think people quite yet realize that going into next season, there's a really good chance that Jamar Chase is the wide receiver 1 according to ADP. Because in startups, what he's done after missing the amount of time that he has, getting in the end zone 4 times through 4 games, what he's put on tape, what he's been able to do, the splash he's been able to make, we could be looking at one of the more special wide receivers, and this just being the beginning for him.
Tara, you agree?
Yeah, I completely agree.
Nope.
Yeah,
I agree.
No, go ahead. Let's go fast.
Yes, and yes. Rapid fire.
Yeah, I'm on Henry and Chase. So I think Henry's better than Kamara. Kamara's value comes in the passing game. He's not getting that right now. And like Calvin said, Chase, I think he could be dynasty wide receiver 2 when we're starting this next season. We have another quick question coming in here right now from Fantasy Ketchup. Just offered Josh Allen, Cooper Kupp, and Cordero Patterson for Kyler Murray, Devontae Adams, DeAndre Swift. We got a big boy trade going on here. This is
Decline.
huge.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Decline.
So what side are you taking, Calvin?
I'm declining.
You're on the Murray side.
Trade. It's not. This one isn't close enough to even respond. No thanks.
Completely agree.
I like to live on the edge a little bit. Let's see here. Cordero Patterson is like balling right now.
Cooper Kupp
is like wide receiver 1 right now.
I like the other player in every single one of these.
Yes.
Okay.
And Bob's coming in here. I have Chase as my dynasty wide receiver 2, just behind CD Lamb.
Justin Jefferson's got to be up there too. As much as that pains Matt Donnelly to see LSU Tigers up there 1-2, it should be them 1-2.
Yeah, probably not. Major, who's the player you need to grab on waivers tonight?
I'm gonna go with Khalil Hill or Herbert. Khalil Herbert.
Virginia Tech.
Yeah. Tara went with Damian Williams, but he has a thigh bruise, and those things are pretty sore. It's hard to run and it's hard to move, and that's the thing that running backs need to do. So I'm gonna go with the 6th-round pick. He looks pretty good. Returning the ball. During the preseason, he had some really good plays, some good runs. So I look for him to actually have some more opportunity, because they actually picked up. They made a trade with Miami to pick up. What's his name? The small receiver to do the kickoff return duty. So he's going to be a full-time running back this time.
Right.
So let's see what happens. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know their name.
No worries. Bills
Rapid
or Chiefs?
fire.
Calvin, give me the score for the Bills and Chiefs.
I think the Bills win that game and the Chiefs fall to a losing record of 2-3.
Tara.
Fancy. Well, based off the Bills defense, I do think it's for real. So I don't think it would be as big of a shootout as maybe people are thinking. I'll say Bills 31, Chiefs 28.
17.
Ooh, that's bold. That's bold.
Yeah, I'm
Major,
right
what do
around
you
it.
got?
I'm the same. I think 30 to like 21 or something like that. 35, 21, something around there. Bills.
For Bills?
Bills.
Well, you know what? As the resident Raider fan, I can't take the Chiefs to win. It's just against my DNA. So I will take the Bills 37-33 over the Chiefs this week. Give me some offense. Calvin, who you got for your waiver wire pickup?
Superflex leagues, just go pick up Mason Rudolph. He's not super exciting, but in Dynasty Superflex leagues, you want to go ahead and get a quarterback. And Major, who's making a face at that, is going to make the argument for why in just a couple sections. I'll let him do that.
All right, and for me, my pickup is, we talked about him early. We should be talking about him more. Calvin mentioned him in his little segue. I've mentioned him as well. It's Dawson Knox. You got to go get him. If he's still not rostered, make sure he's rostered. It's really that simple right now, because people like Tara, for example, like to play tight end roulette, and you've got money on the table with Dawson Knox sitting there. Calvin, which QB blows up this week? Who has a big field day?
Oh, God. Hey, how about Daniel Jones, who I feel like grew up in the Superdome this week?
Okay.
How about Daniel Jones having to blow up monster day?
Tara.
I'm still going to stick with Stafford. I still think it's going to be a really big day for him.
Major.
Justin Herbert.
Justin Herbert keeps it going. I'm going to go with Kirk Cousins against the Lions this week. I think that's going to be a big one too. Kirk Cousins had a bit of a down week last week. I think he gets right here again.
He burned me last week. Maybe
Kirk Cousins will do that. You got to get used to it. It's a love-hate relationship with him and Andy Dalton, but Kirk Cousins is a little more consistent. Dawson Knox, Dalton Schultz this week. Another great tight end question. Tara, you are a resident tight end streamer. Who do you got?
I would give the edge to Dalton Schultz on this one.
Me too.
same.
Well, you know what? I'm still going with Dawson Knox because the Bills.
just
But
picked
yeah,
them.
sure. You both of them are going to be good.
You
know what I mean?
You have to go with them.
I know I have to. It's kind of, I'd be going against everything I said earlier if I didn't go with him. Our biggest fan here has a live trade offer. Would you give up a first to add Tom Brady to a serious contender if your QB2 is Big Ben or Taylor Heineke?
No.
Yes.
No. I'm not giving up a first in a Superflex league. I'm just not, unless I'm getting a massive return.
If you can win the prize,
I don't care. I'm not in Superflex. I'm very I don't like trading my first in Superflex leagues at all. Think about who went off in the first round this year. Are you trading any of those people for Tom Brady?
Tom Brady had 10 touchdowns in like 2 games.
He's 48 years old or whatever he is. You're not doing that.
Yeah.
Well, you all need to relax.
It says
Tara,
or Taylor Heineke. Also, it says or Taylor Heineke. If it was just Big Ben, yeah, you should be concerned. But if you've also got Taylor Heineke to sub in there, I mean, I'm 100% okay with that. I think that he's got a very clear path for the rest of the season. So it's okay. Go with that.
Okay, sorry. Bob wants to jump in. Calvin is wrong. You sell out to win.
Thank you.
Back
Okay,
fantasy.
no, that's fine. Aim higher than Tom Brady and put your fandom aside, Bob Father.
Again, Damian Williams or Kenneth Gainwell.
Damian Williams. He's going to have all of the volume. I know Major is a fan of other backup. You really like backup running backs.
I do. I'm a running back guru. What do you mean? I love them.
Major is a big fan of the third string running backs on teams, but yeah, Damian Williams. He's someone who I actually had him. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me not belabor my fantasy teams where I'm frustrated and might have dropped him after week 2. Yeah, he's got the reason I had him rostered is because if David Montgomery goes down, he has a clear path to massive volume. So yeah, these next 4 weeks are going to be, please trust me, Damian Williams.
Don't trust her.
That's a no for Major. Calvin?
I don't want any, like in a dynasty league, I want Gainwell. If it's a start sit question for this week, I don't want to start either. Maybe Gainwell.
I'm going Gainwell.
All right. A-Rob and Woods trade for Calvin Ridley. Allen Robinson, Robert Woods for Calvin Ridley.
Yes.
Yeah.
In the dynasty league, this is a smash. Absolutely.
You guys are making the move for Calvin Ridley here?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm holding on. I'll take the 2 better than 1.
Especially in Dynasty, because we have no idea what Allen Robinson will even be next year. It's not going to be Chicago, so like
Bingo. He's going to be on the Patriots or something like that. He's going to be fine.
They never do that. They haven't done that since 2007. They never bring in a big wide receiver. We want them to. They don't.
Big. He's like mid-tier. He's like right under the top guys.
All right, we need to relax.
I'm not
still
rapid fire.
No fact checking here. Who's the player we need to relax on right now, Tara?
That would be Josh Jacobs. Yes, it's Josh Jacobs. I forgot there. I have a little bit more faith in him because at this point it's very clear for some odd reason, I don't get it, but Kenyon Drake's role in this, despite his actual pay, is very minimal, oddly enough. So he's not a threat to Josh Jacobs on the ground whatsoever. And for some really odd reason, Josh Jacobs actually got 5 receptions, which is outrageous for him in the last game as well. So I think, it wasn't a fantastic game, but he's still injured. They were still being cautious with him. He was on a limited snap count, not as high as usual. So I just, I think he's going to be fine. I'm cool with him moving forward as in RB2.
Major, who you got?
Going with Cortland Sutton. I don't know this is another fantasy football mystery. Like, what's going on with Teddy B was not playing bad. Like, he was actually throwing the ball down the field and he was just not hitting my guy. He's 67 yards a game, 0 touchdowns, and you're, a former All-Pro. Let's see if it's Teddy B's fault. Drew Lock is coming into the game, and let's see if he has a better connection with Sutton.
Calvin, you got any connections for us to think about?
I think we need to relax on Brendan Ayuk still. I know we don't love what he's done. This has not been a great start to the season for him. There's no denying that. But in Dynasty, we cannot give up on a player his age with first-round pedigree who put together what he did, the 400-something yards and whatever he did at the very end of 2020. Like, we cannot give up on him this early. He's been going for way too little in trades. Don't do that.
Yeah, and for me, it's Allen Robinson. We just talked about him a little bit there. Relax on him. It's going to get going here. It's going to take a couple weeks. Justin Fields gets that quarterback position here under control. Allen Robinson's value will start to go up. He'll start playing a little bit more. Another trade question coming in. Should I trade away Calvin Ridley and Mike Davis for Robert Woods, Higgins, and Shenault in PPR? So you can cross off Mike Davis. So for me, this is basically Calvin Ridley for Woods, Higgins, and Shenault. Calvin.
This is hard. I still say no. I still think Ridley is enough of a difference maker that I want him. It's close. Higgins is what makes it close. Shenault needed DJ Chark to go down to get featured in that offense, and we'll see what happens going forward. I hope he does. I think he's got some talent. I don't think in Dynasty, Robert Woods is, I think he's 29. I don't think in Dynasty he's a guy that I'm looking to acquire. Higgins is what makes it close to me and what Shenault could be, but give me Ridley still.
Tara?
Yeah, that was really tough. I'm going to co-sign what Calvin said as well. Chenault's situation is a little volatile for me. So yeah, I'd probably stick with Ridley.
Major?
I'm going to go with the Woods, Higgins, Shenault, just for what Calvin said. I take Higgins upside I take Chenault's upside, and Higgins is a proven commodity already. And then you have at least a couple seasons with Woods.
I think for Dynasty, I have to agree with Calvin here. I got to go with Ridley for Dynasty simply because Higgins is going to be one of 3 wide receivers in Cincinnati. Chenault is going to be one of 3 receivers in Jacksonville.
Boyd's gone next year.
If Boyd keeps playing the way he's playing, I don't know, man. Boyd's been looking pretty good out there. So that's something I'd be concerned about there as well. I love Higgins. I like that. But right now, Calvin Ridley, I think, is still the best player in this trade. And, I mean, if you have no depth, if you're talking about like your wide receiver 2 right now behind Calvin Ridley is someone like, I don't know, throw someone who is horrible out there, like Nelson Aguilar. If he's your wide receiver 2, then I could see why you'd make a move. So if there's a little bit more meat on the bone here with this question, like your wide receiver 2 is really weak, and adding Robert Woods becomes your wide receiver 1, Higgins becomes your 2, and Shenault becomes your 3. I may be persuaded a little bit for the 3 for 1 type deal, but for me, it's still Ridley. Which players are you panicking about? I just said, Tara, not to panic about a certain player. What says you?
Didn't you just explain, like at the beginning of the show, why we should be panicking? Weren't you the one that said that Mooney has the higher target share when you went on your Mooney is the greatest ever? Rant, but
yeah.
praising situations. So yeah, no, it's.
I also said, and you can quote me on here, that Fields will be able to support 2 top wide receivers.
He did.
That's
called defending yourself.
You might have said that. I won't fact check on that. But
out once you start talking.
But I don't believe. But I don't agree with you there. I don't think he can. I don't think they have the volume. I don't think they have the coaching strategy. Oh no. But yeah, unfortunately, sorry. For me, it's Allen Robinson. I don't trust that situation moving forward. I've seen enough games to kind of be like, yeah.
Major, who are you panicking on?
I'm going Big Ben. He looks,
and I want you to read your comment word for word.
Oh, it might.
Yeah, I'm going Big Ben. He looks like a punch drunk boxer that doesn't know when to hang it up. He is also dealing with like a litany of injuries, and it's not helping the issue at all. It's just sad to see like great players look pedestrian. The question is like, will Coach Tomlin move on a Hall of Famer? Like, sometimes they just leave him in there just out of respect for him, but you really can't bench a Hall of Famer. You're probably going to see him get injured, quote unquote.
He's got a hip injury right now.
Yeah, but it's going to be a more severe one now, and then he's going to be out for a few weeks so they can see what Mason has to offer. But I'm kind of leaning more towards Haskins for some reason. I don't know why. It's like a gut feeling.
I have a feeling they're going to find out that hip injury is more serious than they thought.
Well,
yeah,
they benched.
Yeah, exactly.
They benched Eli. Eli got benched there. Well, he was
but
in the middle of an Iron Man streak.
I think Big Ben would like start fighting people in the locker room if he got benched. Like Eli's just like, oh, okay, guys, have a good day.
Calvin, who's your player you're starting to panic over?
Who is my player? I'm sorry. Oh, Myles Gaskin. That just completely done at this point with him. I just think, it's clear the coaching staff doesn't trust him the way we hope they do.
And I'm going to go back to I'm going to panic a little bit about Montgomery. 4 to 5 weeks right now. We don't have a definitive time frame. That could be a little bit more. That could be a problem. It's not. I really feel that this Bears offense is more effective with David Montgomery in the lineup. So there could be a residual effect that kind of plays into Darnell Mooney a little bit and Allen Robinson with Montgomery out. That's something I want to keep an eye on. But the guy I'm definitely panicking over is Miles Sanders. We talked about him in length already. Why is he not getting the opportunities? He's 16th in snap count, which is good. He's getting 2/3 of the snaps for the Eagles. Unfortunately, he's 20th in targets amongst running backs and 30th in carries. Why is he not being effective? Because they don't want to give him the dang ball. It's really that simple. You look at it, last week he had 3 receptions there, and then he also, for 34 yards, 7 rushes for 13. That's why you're not getting the ball. You're getting less than 2 yards per carry. No one's going to give you the ball. You can give the guy the ball literally 4 times, and he still won't have enough yards for a first down. You know what I'm saying? That's why you're not getting the ball. Now, in 10 touches, that's what he did in 10 touches. Gainwell, in 9 touches, has been more efficient, and he's found the end zone. So I think Gainwell's gaining those touches on Miles Sanders. Now, I want to throw another question up on the board. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I meant to boo you. Sorry, I meant to boo you. That joke was so bad, but go ahead.
Is anyone else tired? I love how this covers up Major's face right now. If you're watching, it's perfect. Is anyone else tired of Christian McCaffrey right now? Christian McCaffrey or Nick Chubb and Deontay Johnson? Calvin.
I'm going to say Chubb and Johnson, but you probably picked the 2 people I'm like higher on than most others. I don't think I'm giving up on Christian McCaffrey. He's still number 1 in DLF's October ADP. So it still holds a lot of value, but this is the kind of deal that would make me pull the trigger.
Major.
I'm with him on that. Can we say that McCaffrey is injury prone now? Is he to that point yet or no?
Yeah, you could probably make an argument for that. There is a bit of evidence pointing in that direction. Volume does do that, yeah. And Nick Chubb, luckily he's got Kareem Hunt taking a little bit of that volume away from him. Tara, what say you?
This is tough. My gut tells me stick with CMC. It can't possibly happen 2 years in a row, can it? Let's hope he comes back. I'm just going to stay positive. I would stick with CMC.
And I got to go with the Chubb Johnson here as well, because your best ability is your availability. We know Chubb's going to be there. I say this all the time. Christian McCaffrey, he's getting me 0 points right now. And when you look at it, it's going to take 2 players to equal Christian McCaffrey. So you're getting yourself a good wide receiver. You're getting yourself a good running back. Basically, that's Christian McCaffrey. If you're sick and tired of him, yeah, I could pull that trigger on him. I'd be okay with that. I feel comfortable enough. Who are your unsung players going to carry you to fantasy championship caliber this week there, Tara?
I couldn't decide between it's a Miami receiver. I could not decide if it's going to be Devontae Parker or Jalen Waddle. I have to look a little bit deeper into that. Didn't have the time, but it's one of them that is really going to have a fantastic week. Maybe both.
Okay, okay, here we go. Major. Let's hear it.
I'm gonna go with Kyle Pitts breakout game versus the Jets. If any team you can have a breakout game against, you have like Pitts. Come on, dude. Like I've drafted you like first overall in one of my dynasty leagues. Like, come on, bro. Like, help me out. Like, just give me something.
Give you something.
Obviously, Bob has left the chat.
Yeah, because hang on. Kyle Pitts is overrated.
Bob, are you there?
Bob,
you gotta say it like now. You gotta say it 3 times. It's like Beetlejuice.
Bob literally texted me why I was wrong earlier after I told him he shouldn't trade that first. So if he hears this, you'll know about it.
Maybe it is like Beetlejuice or the Candy Man, where you have to say it 3 or 5 times for Bob to pop up. Kyle Pitts. Boom. Calvin, who's your unsung player?
How about Michael Carter? He's actually slowly been given double-digit targets.
Why are you laughing?
There's Bob.
Oh, okay.
Hanging up. Michael Carter, double-digit targets. This is his best matchup of the year so far against the Falcons.
It made me feel good last week. I actually recommended Michael Carter. Someone was asking me questions on Twitter. I recommended Michael Carter. Said I think he's going to find the end zone last week. He made me look good, made me look smart, which is something very few people can do. So thank you, Michael Carter, for doing that. For me, I got two here. I'm going to use one because one guy may not play this week. If he plays, it's Rashad Bateman. Keep an eye on the IR, see if he's activated and he's ready to go. If he is, I think you can he's going to be that unsung guy. You're not going to put him in your lineup, but you're going to look back on the week. You're like, oh man, those points on my bench really hurt. And then I'm going to steal from Tera because I'm going to take right now the third most targeted wide receiver for the 49ers, who's not Brandon Ayuk. You've got Deebo Samuel with the most targets. You got George Kittle with the next most. Mohamed Sanu is a sleeper for you, because he's going to be the Van Jefferson, that third receiving option against the Cardinals. I'm stealing all the facts that Tera used last week, and I'm putting them on Mohamed Sanu. Players to fade outside the games of the week. Who are you fading, Tera?
Make sure that you don't delete this show sheet. I want all of this data on reference for us next week. Players I'm fading. I don't even have to explain it. Cal literally just talked about it a couple segments ago. It's Myles Gaskin. No, but unfortunately, they just do not actually like him. And we're going to have to move on from him. It's not working out. Not a good situation.
Major, who you got?
I got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's been on fire. He had back-to-back 100-yard games, but he's playing a top-5 defense. And I think it's going to be a passing game, so they're going to abandon a run. So look for him not to really do that much. All those faces. I'm going to be right. So remember those faces.
No, it's not directed at you.
Oh,
that's for sure.
Oh, I'm lost in it. I don't know.
We got to get Major locked in.
Wait, I am. I have my show sheet covered up that section of the thing. Maybe I should not do that.
Yeah.
Don't worry, it's okay. I get squirreled all the time. Calvin, who are you fading this week?
Brandon Cooks. Davis Mills sucks. I don't want Brandon Cooks in my lineup.
Fair enough. And I'm going to fade Deebo Samuel. I just talked about how I think Sanu's going to be that big guy this week. We watched what the Cardinals did to Cooper Kupp. Same slot kind of guy. Kupp had a little success, nothing major. We're expecting Deebo Samuel. I think he's got the most yards after catch and everything else goes into that. But Kupp was held to 5 catches for 64 yards. He did have 13 targets, but that Cardinals defense is no joke. So I'm going to put that on Deebo Samuel. I think Deebo Samuel has a bit of a down game. And then finally here, Tera, who are some players that you need to start this week?
I'm going with Cordell Patterson. I know it doesn't seem like it's not my bold prediction. It's not super bold. Like everyone, have faith and start him. But the main reason, aside from his track record, obviously, look at what Jeremy McNichols did last week against the Jets. Atlanta's playing the Jets. That'll give you an idea of what a PPR back can do. Cordell Patterson should thrive.
Major?
I'm going with Danny Dimes. I think Kyle spoke about him a little bit earlier. But yeah, the G-Men are coming off a big win. They have the momentum. The Dallas Cowboys the secondary is just trash. They're giving up 315 yards a game. But they're playing better, so we'll see which direction is really, what team is trending in the right direction.
Calvin?
Darrell Henderson, but you know what? I just saw he was injured and logged a limited practice today. It makes me think he's not going to get the workload. So I'll go back to my Michael Carter. Find a way to get Michael Carter in your lineup.
I agree. I think Michael Carter's covered on strong. Maybe not as strong as Jacoby Myers. Must start each and every week. Against Houston, are you kidding me right now? Mark him down for 2 touchdowns. He's going to get those touchdowns. He is right now wide receiver, I think 26 in scoring without scoring a touchdown. Okay? It's coming. Stay with me. We're going to keep this Jacoby Myers train rolling, okay?
Every time you say Jacoby Myers, we should take a drink. We should make it a drinking game, like a shot game or whatever.
I'm not trying to die, Major.
Jacoby Myers,
your health is more important. Don't do that.
True. So true.
Yeah. You'll drink way too much.
Major, you'd be frozen 3 minutes into the show if that was the case.
Like always.
Jacoby Myers to me is what Kyle Pitts is to Bob Gilchrist, okay?
And what Ramondre Stevenson is to me.
Also Also start Marvin Jones this week. We talked about the Titans secondary. It's bad. Fire up Marvin Jones. Feel comfortable in doing so. Now, everyone's favorite part of the show. I'm going to give Tara a few seconds to think about how bold she wants to get. So I'm going to head over to Major. What is that bold prediction for week number 5?
Arizona will get its first loss versus my 49ers, led by Trey Lance.
Really? That's like a 50-50 chance there.
Well,
you're right.
I've been going pretty bold lately, and I don't like losing, so I'm gonna kind of like Arizona's on fire right now. The 49ers all discombobulated. Don't know what quarterback is playing. People hurt, all kind of stuff going on. So let's, it's a lot more bold than you think.
We might have to put that out to Twitter and see how bold it actually is.
Twitter
is after last week when we put this poll out to Twitter, both my bold predictions whooped both of yours.
But that's why you're 0-4.
True, but
I think you're playing the game wrong. I think you're playing the game wrong, Matt.
To be fair, I did tell you one of those predictions was so bold it was just straight up outrageous. So
I know I calmed it down a little bit this week. I'll give Calvin. You got a bold prediction? You need a second.
I want you to go first because it's gonna impact mine.
But before he goes, I think Matt thinks the more bold, the more points you get. Do you know the rules of the game that you made up, Matt?
I'll tell you if my prediction comes true. If my prediction comes true, then it is worth a little bit more. I'm going to go back to the Chubb and Hunt here again. By the way, Boston's 1 out away. Bob's been keeping us informed.
Amazing.
I think that's baseball, but who really cares about baseball, especially Boston?
Nothing can go wrong here, Bob. Nothing. The history of the Red Sox says nothing can go wrong right now.
We're talking football, guys.
I'm going to go back to one of my earlier predictions this year. And I'm going to go back to Chubb and Hunt are both RB1s this week. Both score touchdowns and both have over 100 yards from scrimmage.
So
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than Major's 50-50. Oh, team A's going to win.
Don't bold predict.
It
don't do that.
Well,
it was a little mundane until you added in the 100-yard, both 100 yards, and then I'm like, it's a little more interesting.
Yeah, we're throwing it out there. And now Calvin's bold prediction is Matt is wrong because that's what he's going to go with because that's bold. That's another 50-50. Actually, that's more like an 80% chance that he's right.
I'm gonna start doing that too. But go ahead.
No, go ahead, Tara. I want to hear Tara.
Okay, all right. Just a note to counter, you should go with the prediction about Odell. Anyways, my bold prediction is Zach Wilson, top 10 quarterback.
Woo! We got some spice down.
It's bold. It's bold.
College?
It's bold.
I will let that
top
go. That
10
is bold.
NFL starting quarterback. It's bold, but I think I got it.
In interceptions? Let's get specific here. What are we talking?
I mean,
come on now.
I'm not the one to say anything because she's 2-2 on the season, while the rest of us are 1-3. Actually, if you combine all three of our bold predictions, we have the same amount correct as Tara does.
But she plays it kind of safe.
I don't play it safe. I play it accurate.
I'm following suit. I see what she's doing, and I'm like, let me do that.
What's San Francisco's record now? 2-2. So you're like predicting a team with 2 wins is going to beat a team with 4 wins.
The second coming of Kyler Murray beats Kyler Murray.
This is what you call
that sounds even better now. You guys gotta stop naming people. You guys are bullying right now.
Maybe a little bit.
All right.
You got to use that fantasy point subscription to be able to properly analyze and make the correct bold predictions.
21 Vipers 10.
I say Michael Carter outscores Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
Combined or separate?
Combined. Get out of here. That's my way of going against your prediction.
You know what? I'm okay with that.
We all should go against Matt prediction. Like every week.
Every week.
Be undefeated.
Yes. 100%. You have your regular bold prediction and then your anti-Matt prediction.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that's essentially the kiss of death I put on Chubb and Hunt, isn't it? The way the season's been going so far,
True.
0-4.
Sorry to all those owners out there.
Yeah. Start Anthony Schwartz or something.
I want to point out for the record here, though, Zach Wilson was the QB 18 last week. So that's where Tara is battling. He's got to move up at least 8
and that
spots
was
to get in the
Tennessee.
top 10.
That was against Tennessee, who was wretched. So he's got to make a leap.
It's going to have to be a huge leap here. But I think with Corey Davis, all things are possible there, if you know what I'm saying. So, and with that, you know what? Like Bob said, I don't think he's referring to the show, but it's over. This is the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast. You know what? Bob, thanks. Fantasy catch-up. And everyone who's in the chat tonight, thanks for stopping in, getting those questions in. Appreciate each and every one of you. We got a round of applause going on. You know, it's fantastic to be appreciated by our fans, even though we fabricated them in a soundboard. So with that said, you know, this is it. That is all. We want to thank each and every one of you guys for showing up. We're going to do this again next week. Calvin, if you guys are wondering where Calvin was, it's Taco Tuesday. Calvin, where can we find you on Taco Tuesday?
You can find me on the Dynasty League Football YouTube channel, not advocating for not trading away my Superflex first, Bob.
Tara, what do you got coming up this week? Are you tic-tacking it and snap basing?
I am. I do my Sunday live on Fantasy Pros TikTok, so you can always catch me there. It is fun. The questions come in rapid. It's kind of crazy, but get in there. Ask some start sets. It's awesome. Then I'll have some additional videos coming out this week with Fantasy Pros and Fantasy Alarms. So yeah, just stay tuned to my Twitter.
We call Tara the queen of the 4 Fs. Fantasy Pros, Fantasy Points, Fantasy Alarm, and Fantasy Vipers. Major, what's up?
Yep, you catch me on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time on Fantasy Points. Extra Point, where me and Nick talk player props and make you guys some money. So tune in.
Yeah, and we may have some big news coming on a little bit later in the week. Next week, we might be able to share a little something for you here as we hit into week 6. Of course, if you want to catch some of my solo stuff, we got those primetime matchups. I drop one every Thursday, every Sunday, and every Monday here for all those primetime games. Sunday's a little bit of a primetime football and movies. Make sure you catch all that. There's some good work going on. And there's new articles getting dropped down on dynastyvipers.com. Ryan just dropped down his waiver wire. Jeremy's dropping down his facts and fiction there. Great articles. Go check those out. Guys work really hard to put those out there for you. And now with that said, this is the Dynasty Vipers ViperCast powered by Fantasy Points Media Group. Go over to fantasypoints.com. Go get that subscription. 21 Vipers 10. And be smart like everyone but me. We'll catch you later. Take care.
Bob's wrong.